Hi, good day. I'm Fred Simino from PROFILProg.com. Today I have the pleasure of speaking with Bruce Soord from Pineapple Teeth. So how are you, Bruce?
I'm good. I'm good. It's 8:30 here in Yeovil, in England. So yeah, I'm relaxed. Finished for the day. Well, nearly finished.
Almost. All right. Well, we'll start with the most important question, I think. Can you describe your new album, your Wilderness, which is going to be released on August 12th?
Yeah. Well, it's the 11th Pineapple Thief album. I can't believe we've done 11 records. And it's very different to the ones that have come before it. And I think what happened is that after doing 10 albums, you've got to have a different. I thought, well, what am I going to do to keep this fresh? And I'd taken the Pineapple Thief down a bit of a, I wouldn't say less progressive route, but it was probably a more commercially edged progressive, if that makes sense. And I decided to throw all that out the window and really take a new path. And so what we did is that, well, I still wrote all the songs, but I approached it very differently. I took a step back from production. I took a step back from performance as well. So we didn't have a drummer. So I guess the most eye-catching thing about the new record is that we got Gavin Harrison drumming, and that made a huge difference. It was a real shot in the arm to the band. And not only did he drum, but he really had a big influence on the arrangements of the songs and changed a lot of things, and came up with loads of suggestions because we got on really well. We had a really good time making the record. Um, and a friend of mine, Darren, played amazing guitar playing on the record. So the whole thing is a very different take on what Pineapple Thief has been before it. So I'm really excited. I'm really happy with how it's all turned out.
So you're talking about Gavin Harrison. Well, you have a very nice list of invited guests on that new album. Uh, well, how hard was it to convince these people to participate in the project?
Well, that's the thing. You see, I'd never really thought about it of approaching people like Gavin, and we didn't have a drummer. And when people ask me, well, who would you want to get to drum? And you think, well, who in an ideal world, who would you ask? And I just thought, well, Gavin Harrison is the was not only one of the best drummers in the world, he has to be the best progressive rock drummer in the world. I'd say, I think that probably, I would go as far as to say that. And I just thought, why not? Why don't we just ask him? So I dropped him an email and said, you may not know who I am. I'm Bruce Saw, blah blah blah. And then I realised, well, hold on, I've got 10 albums. We're on the same label. His Oric, it's Oric 5, isn't it? Went out on Kscope.
Yep.
So I thought, well, maybe I've got a shot. And he, Gavin's really great because he gets loads of people asking him about drumming, and he always listens to it. And his stock answer is, look, if I feel like I like music and I feel like I can add to it, then I consider it if he's free. And that's what he said to me. And then a couple of days later, he phoned me up and said, yeah, and I really think I can, add to this. So I was like, great, let's go. And the other thing about Gavin is that he's got an amazing studio in his house. So you go into his house and it's like a TARDIS. You open the door and then there's another door, which is his studio. And you walk in and it's just like opens up into this huge drum room and then a little mix control room. So he's got his drum kit set up, and then he's got this amazing drum room, probably one of the best sounding drum rooms in the world, with these lovely mics. And so getting Gavin isn't just getting Gavin's amazing drumming. You get his amazingly recorded drums as well. And he's been mixing his drum kit for 20 years. So and he's got it set up so he knows exactly how to get it right. So for me, he just when I sent him the demos to drum, he sent me back his drum file, which was just a stereo mix of his drumming. Dropped it into the mix, and it was perfect. So it was just match made in heaven, really.
Were there any other artists or other musicians that you wanted on board, but they couldn't make it?
No, no. To be honest, because the Pineapple Thief has always been we never really had guest musicians
Oh,
before. So no, I think getting a drummer in was a big enough shock to the system as it was. But no, because I think what we got, we had four. You know, we had sort of, so we had Gavin, we had John Helliwell for Supertramp, who that was a real fanboy thing. I thought, well, if Gavin does it, why don't I ask? You know, one of my favourite bands of all time is Supertramp. Favourite album is definitely in my top five is Crime of the Century. So I thought, let's just get John Helliwell a line and just see. And he had the same answer. Says, if I like it, maybe. And he, you know, a couple of weeks later, I got an email because I thought, well, that's it, the ship sailed. But he dropped me an email and said, yeah, I really love this, Bruce. You know, come up to Manchester and let's jam. So that was a great day, spending time with John. And then we also had my friend Darren from Godsticks, who did some amazing guitar. Because technically, he's such a good, much better guitar player than me. And so for the first time on sort of Pineapple Thief records, you've got some really technically amazing guitar solos and guitar work. So I thought that was enough. Yeah, I think, yeah. But so now I'm thinking, who shall I ask next? Yeah.
This album seems to show Pineapple Thief in a state of an almost peaceful nostalgia. The music is rich and accessible, and we feel more of your emotions throughout the album, or your singing.
Mm.
It almost feels like you went on and created an album for yourself. Is this why you're stating that this album was the easiest one to make of them all?
Well, it was easy because, well, one, obviously I wrote the songs on acoustic guitar, so the songwriting process was quite easy. And whereas before I would take a song idea, then I'd bring it into my studio where I am now, and then I would demo it up. I would program quite an intricate drum part. I'd play bass, I'd play keyboards, and I'd get really immersed in it as a control freak. And then I'd give it to the rest of the guys and say, here's the songs. What do you think? And they'd be like, well, it's all done, you know. And they just end up pretty much playing very similar to what I did in the demos. Whereas this one, I just didn't want to do that. I wanted something different to happen. So what I did is I just did really basic demos and said, right, here you go. Here's the songs. Go and do your stuff. And then I just basically put my feet up. And you know, Gavin did his drums. He sent them in. John did his bass playing. He lives in a city called Leicester, which is about 200 miles or 350 kilometers from where I live. He did his bass parts, sent them through. Keyboard player lives an hour down the road. He was doing his parts. Jeffrey Richardson was doing his strings. All of them emailing their parts to me online. And then I just dropped them into the mix, bring up the faders, and there it was. You know, the songs were just 99% done. So I think that was one of the reasons why I say, you know, it's such a joy to make, because I got other people to do the hard work. You know, I wrote the songs, and then everyone else, you know, I sang, played a bit of guitar, but you know, the real work was done. You know, the real musical work was done by other people, and you know, I quite like that.
Your solo album released a few months ago, which was also very good, by the way,
Thanks.
feels more personal and introspective when compared to a Pineapple Thief album. Your wilderness seems to be the logical evolution or continuity of it. So was it done on purpose, or has it just become that way naturally?
No, I definitely did. I had a conscious decision because I knew that Pineapple Thief, I was getting torn between what I wanted to do as a songwriter and then what I wanted to do as a musician, as a progressive musician, and I was really getting torn between the two heads, and I think I got a bit confused with. I was trying to do you know, Bruce Soord singer-songwritery compositions, and then still be the Pineapple Thief, still be that progressive rock band, and I think at times that there was some conflict with those two heads, those two personas that I had, and when Kscope agreed to release a solo record, all of a sudden I just let that go. That was a real release for me to say, right, this is just going to be me. This is going to be songs that I'm going to write, like you say, very much more introspective. And then that just freed me up to say, right, and now Pineapple Thief, I can become this. We can take the Pineapple Thief back to being the progressive rock band that I started the Pineapple Thief being, and you know, and I know even though Your Wilderness is 8 songs, and it's, you know, and a lot of them are 4 minutes. There's a 10-minute song. I still think that it's, compared to the last 3 or 4 records, it's really progressive in terms of its arrangement and how the music comes across to me is really progressive, and so it's just allowed me now to really understand what the Pineapple Thief means and the identity going forward. So yeah, it was important.
So when you're writing, are there any like specific criteria that makes a song more like a more like a Pineapple Thief album or a solo or another project album?
Oh, true. I mean, what I do is, if I'm about to embark on a Pineapple Thief album, I will. That's it. That's all I will do for the next 6 months. Is I will get my head in a space that is Pineapple Thief, and then I will write. And with Your Wilderness, I sat down and I wrote on a piece of paper exactly how I wanted the album to unfold. I wanted it to start in, like this, and then I wanted it to go soft and heavy, and then I wanted it to go ambient, and then I wanted it to go, so I drew this little line of a journey that I wanted to take it, and then I just spent the next sort of probably about 4 or 5 months writing it, and then when that's finished, and the next thing I'm going to do is a Bruce Soord solo, which is just going to be, let's be introspective. Let's write about my what I'm doing, what my brain's going through. So yeah, it's quite easy to compartmentalize it like that.
So I noticed that you're the man behind the new Riverside 5.1
Yeah, yeah.
version of Love, Fear, and the Time Machine. So how do you find the time to do all of these projects?
Well, I mean, I'm lucky to be a full-time musician. So I've got the studio that I'm in now. It's just here. It's a little 5.1. With all my guitars in the background. And so I wake up in the morning and I come to my studio I'm lucky that I get to work on things, like the Riverside. I'm currently working on a Gong 5.1 mix. Just recently did Catatonia, all that stuff, and yeah, I don't know. I'm busy, which is good, but I think in terms of making a living as a musician, it's not easy, and being in a band, it costs money to and the modern band doesn't make, unless you're incredibly successful, there's not a lot of money to be made. So it also pays the bills, doing these mixes for other labels.
Very good. What can we expect from Bruce Soord and Pineapple Thief in the near future?
I don't know. I think the Pineapple Thief, we're really excited about the new record, so I think we're going to see how that is received, and then we're going to look at how we're going to tour it and where we're going to go. I'd love to come back to Quebec. We played Quebec. Must have been about
2009.
yeah, that was a long time ago. And it was great. We loved it. So I'd love to come back. And people are always asking us, when are you going to come back? And so, we just need to sell a few more records to get a few more people through the door to make it so that we can get on a plane and come over. So that's what we're doing. We're going to watch see how it all pans out. I mean, all of us just want to play live as much as we can. And then I think I'm going to sit down when my head is like recovered, and write another Bruce Soord solo. And I'm quite excited about the next Bruce Soord solo, because the first album was almost like, well, let's see if people are actually interested in a Bruce Soord solo album, and luckily they were. So now I can sit down and have a little bit more money, spend a little bit more time on it, be a little bit more ambitious, and see what happens. So yeah, it's quite nice. It's a nice feeling just being able to think, well, let's just see. I know that there's going to be another Pineapple Thief album, and I know there's going to be another Bruce Soord solo. So I'm a lucky man.
Good. Well, you answered my next question, which was, when are you going to come back?
Yeah, as soon as we can. As soon as we can. We just need to sell a few more records.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm sure we'll be back one day.
Well, I had a chance to listen to the new album and I loved it. So
Oh, great.
congratulations on that.
That's a good sign. Thanks.
It is. I'm sure it's going to be very well received.
Great, thank you.
Received. So I guess that's it for the interview. You have the last word.
Oh, do you know what? I've been doing interviews for so long, and whenever people say that, oh, you got the last word, it's like, oh my God, all the things I want to say. and then you think, there's nothing I want to say. Well, there's loads I want to say, but nothing I can think of that I want to say. But all I can say is, I really hope you like the new record, and please call us back to Quebec and we'll come.
Awesome. So thanks very much, and wish you the best of luck with your wilderness.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
it's going to be released in August, so very,
Yeah.
very soon. And congratulations for all your hard work.
Thank you very much. Thanks for your time.
All right.